Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the 3 best legends to solo queue with to finish off this season strong. There's only a few days left and everybody's really trying to hammer out those grinds, so don't worry, I've got you covered. Now before we break this down, if you guys are really looking to take your Apex skill to the next level, then you have to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there we have top level coaches, including myself, who have been to Predator, they've been to ALGS finals, they've played against the best of the best, and they've gained so much knowledge in doing so, and now they're sharing that information with you in the form of legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and so much more. Seriously guys, no matter what you struggle with, we have solutions for you. I have personally made so many guides covering so many different topics on that website, so seriously, click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, with that out of the way, let's hop into things. And yes, we will be covering 3 of the best legends. We're going to be covering 1 for every single role. So the entry fragger, the secondary fragger, and the support. And I'm feeling a little bit spicy today, so we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're going to start with the support. Now, as a support, you are in the back line. You are the anchor for your team, and you need to be there in order to support them. But as a solo queuer, you cannot trust that your teammates are going to be making the right decisions for themselves and also for you. So you need a support legend who is very self-sufficient. And typically support and self-sufficient don't go together all that well, but there is one legend that does do this, and that is Newcastle. Now I've talked about Newcastle a lot on the channel, and people that have been watching for a while probably know why I talk about him, but seriously you guys, Newcastle is the strongest support legend for solo queuers, and you have to understand this. Like I said, supports need to be self-sufficient, and Newcastle is very self-sufficient. Most supports do not have a way to get back to their team if they get split up by the enemies. If you get singled out as a support player, you are probably going to die, or you're going to have to waste a huge ability that will still probably cost your team the fight. But as Newcastle, you can play extremely split from your team, causing the enemies to think that they're able to solo you out, throw themselves out of position, and then you can just use your ultimate to jump back to your team. When the enemies throw themselves at you, your team is going to be able to capitalize off that because now you're back to them, you're able to team fire, you have cover because of your ultimate. It is just such a strong ability. And that does not even cover the other parts of his kit. Now yes, his tactical can be kind of lackluster in some certain situations, but with his tactical you can do so many different things with it that the real only limitation of it is your imagination. You can throw it in front of you to help kick doors for free, you can push buildings with it, you can cover your teammates, you can throw it in front of a grenade if it's happening. There's so many different situations where this tactical is super strong, and you can move it and pivot it to match your needs. How many other tacticals in the game can you move around at a moment's notice to fit what you need at that given moment? And his passive is such a strong revive ability. Honestly, it is probably the strongest revive in the game. Lifelines can be clutch, but being able to put a big shield in front of your teammate and drag them to safety is so good. Because I think a lot of people will agree with me, when you solo queue, your teammates always go down in the worst spots. They never go down in somewhere that's super convenient for you. It's always probably in the middle of nowhere. But Newcastle is able to get around that because you've got a big blocker in front of you with the knockdown shield, and you just pull them back to safety. Or again, you can throw your tactical in front of them to give you extra protection, or you can even jump to them with your ultimate to give even more protection. You guys have to believe me when I say that Newcastle is broken and will carry not only you but your teammates to easy victories once you really understand how to use him. Seriously, Respawn needs to nerf Newcastle, but because nobody plays him, I doubt that they actually will, so you can abuse this to finish off your season's rank grind. But okay, that is going to be our support done and dusted, so now let's move into the secondary fragger. And there are quite a few good selections for this specific role, but there's one character that does stand above the others in my opinion, and that is Loba. Now I know some people might be a little bit confused because Loba is actually seen as a support by a lot of people, but trust me, Loba is a secondary fragger. Because of some meta shifts and how her playstyle really is in game, she doesn't actually fit into the support role because she doesn't actually want to be in the back line being an anchor for the team. As a Loba player, you want to use the mobility that the bracelet offers to take hard, aggressive off angles in fights and be very self-sufficient in doing so. And if you remember from before, being self-sufficient as a solo queuer is pretty strong. The less you have to rely on your team while solo queuing, the better, because again, you can't trust solo queue teammates. It's once in a blue moon that you will actually get a good solo queue teammate. And with Loba, you don't really have to rely on your teammates for anything because you get everything yourself. You take the aggressive off angles in fights to either open up opportunities or to clean them up. You don't have to worry about looting POIs because you slam down your black market and you get all the best stuff before your teammates can even get there. It also doesn't matter what kind of playstyle your teammates want to have because Loba can do everything. If they want to play edge, that's cool, she can be aggressive. Or if they want to play zone, again, that's cool, she slams down a black market and she pokes the entire game because she can just continuously get ammo. Loba right now is a jack of all trades, and when it comes to solo queuing, that is absolutely what you are looking for. And when I need to fill this role on a team, Loba is definitely the one that I go for most of the time because it's just such a good fit. Now, even though I do think Loba is the best option for the vast majority of players, there is one other legend that I do want to give a honorable mention to, and that is going to be Revenant. Now, with the Revenant Reborn rework, Revenant has become such a strong secondary fragger, it is unbelievable. The only reason I'm picking Loba above Revenant is because Loba is just a little bit more self-sufficient than Revenant. But Revenant does get a little bit of a leg up against Loba when it comes to how aggressive he can be. If you are the type of player that you want to fight constantly, or you always get matched up with the teammates that want to fight constantly, Revenant is probably a better option for you. He can take the hard aggressive off angles that Loba can take with the added bonus of being able to climb onto high ground at a moment's notice. He also has a tactical to be able to jump places if he needs to, in order to either escape fights or push fights or do whatever he needs to do. But you also, on top of everything, have your ultimate, which gives you a free 75 shield that does recharge on either knocks or when they time does come back. So you can be highly aggressive in fights even when a lot of people seem to think that you would be out of the fight. Like if something pops off and you get cracked, you pop your ultimate, somebody might be a little bit too aggressive on you because they don't realize that you have your ultimate up now. And they might throw themselves out of position to try to finish you off, but hey, you've got a surprise 75 HP just all of a sudden. That can be very strong and change a lot of fights, and I've actually been able to pull this off quite a few times in ranked against very high rank players. These types of situations do happen a lot more often than you would think they do. So yes, Revenant is a very solid option if you are a more aggressive player. But if you want the best overall pick, I still think Loba is probably the best for the secondary fragger. But now it's our support and secondary fragger covered, so let's move into the entry fragger. And there's only one clear choice when it comes to solo queuing as an entry fragger, and that is Wraith. Now, there are probably some people out there thinking that I was going to say Bangalore, but Bangalore is not a good solo queue legend. Now, don't get that confused. Bangalore is a strong legend, she's not a strong solo queue legend. Bangalore is a double-edged sword when it comes to team fights, because yes, her smokes can be amazing, but they can also mess your team up just as much as they mess the enemy team up. And if you don't have really good coordination with your team, you can cause them to be basically useless in fights. If you're blocking their line of sight and cutting off a bunch of options for them, you are the reason that you lost the fight. It's not their fault that they couldn't do anything because they couldn't see. And I know some people out there are going to be saying, well, I'm a good Bangalore player. I know when to smoke and when not to smoke. But that isn't always the case. Me personally, I have played with Shiv in a few different situations when he was solo queuing. And I'm gonna be honest, he messed me up quite a few times with his smokes. Even the best of the best do make mistakes from time to time. Now, Shiv is still miles above my own personal skill level. So he was carrying the fights to begin with, and he did need to smoke, but I couldn't help him in those situations because I couldn't see anything. So yeah, Bangalore is not the go-to option here. Wraith is, because she is just literally the solo queue legend. Wraith's playstyle is all about being self-sufficient, doing your own thing, and carrying your team while you're at it. She wants to enter into fights alone. She wants to play split from her team alone. You don't have to rely on anybody. You don't have to play around anybody. You don't have to do anything with your team. Any help that you do get from them is a bonus on top. But Wraith is such a strong solo queue legend that she does everything she needs to do on her own. You have the get out of jail free card on your tactical, you have the potential mobility to push fights without really any consequences with your portal, and your passive's just kind of there. It saved me a few times. I know a few people think it's pretty lackluster. It's not the best passive in the game, but I also don't think it's the worst either, so it's just kind of there. But literally everything and anything that you want to do as a solo queue player, Wraith can accomplish it. One thing that I see trip a lot of solo queue players up is when their two teammates are just holding hands because they're duo queued and you get left hung out to dry. As a Wraith player, that doesn't really happen because even if they're holding hands, you can take really aggressive off angles and play super split from your team even as an entry fragger. And if something goes wrong, just pop your tactical and run back to your teammates. They're probably holding hands anyway, so they're gonna be right next to each other, so you are back as a full 3 stack and you can probably just heal up and then re-engage the fight. There's no other legend that can get in and out of fights for free in the entry fragger position, so seriously, Wraith is just the best option here. But if I continue to talk about her, we're just gonna be beating a dead horse because it's gonna go in circles, me saying she's amazing. So let me know your favorite solo queue legend in the comments down below, and if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, amazing game, and I'll see you guys in the next one.